Welcome back. Last time we explored Undernets 8 and 9, we face off against Pharaohman and we got a couple new chips along the way. Today we're going to be exploring a couple more areas of the Undernet. So before we head for the next area, I wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, I did a little bit of grinding off screen. Right now we have over 200,000 Zeni. We're going to need most of that. And not that. I switched up my folder a bit. I got a couple of Anubis and I have a few Elegmans here. Once we're done with the next area, I will be switching up my folder again and I will explain why later. You won't be able to just stroll by this area. Avoiding viruses is the secret. So, the requirement to unlock the barrier for the next area is that you have to reach the barrier in 7 or less virus encounters. So, because of that, I don't plan on skipping any fights here. And also, most of the enemies in this area, except for Rush, are new. So I will be showing all the battles. You don't want to use this area as a hunting ground. So once again, more hints as to how to get through the area. And look at that, there's 2 new enemies. So, the Cloud Virus there is the main reason why I put a couple of Elegmans. Because you really want to get it out of the way as soon as possible. Almost there. I was hoping that I would get the fully charged shot before. But we got the chip anyways. So the 2 new chips are of course Thunder 3. We didn't get it right now, but let's go over it nonetheless. So Thunder 3. It is the ultimate version of Thunder. It deals 150 damage and it is electric type damage, so great chip. And Cloudest of course is a stronger version of Cloudier and it deals water type damage. Pretty good. Oh, also, look at that Zeni amount. That's rather low, don't you think? This area is rather unique in that it has both the lowest and the highest possible amount of Zeni that you can get. I believe the amounts go from 10, 20, 30 and then 10,000. So you can either get nothing or like a whole bunch of money. Nothing new here, but I did say that I would show all the fights. And there's Rush. Might as well do this. I do have to say, the pain scream that he has is a bit unsettling. And we got Pop-Up K. Nice. We're going to ignore that World 3 door for now. Alright, new enemy. I'm going to let it do its thing for a moment and then I'll just take him out. I think that's enough. And we actually got the chip. So Removid 3. It is of course stronger than Removid 2, it is faster and it deals more damage. It's pretty good. Also, I think that was our 5th fight. I'm a bit scared that we may not actually make it. Never mind. Checking your dexterity level. Exerty level satisfactory. You may pass. Alright, great. So, we got to the barrier. However, there's a couple of things that we need to get back. We need to do. For one, we left the World 3 door open, closed, and there's a couple enemies that we haven't encountered yet. So, for now, I'll be skipping any random encounters against all the enemies. And we have a power-up. Nice, we're only missing one. Alright, so there is one enemy that appears as a random encounter that we haven't run into yet, but also there's something else that we can do in this area. You probably already know what it is. I suggest that you save, because we can actually do a rematch against Magic Man. And he's not that tougher than the last time. Oh, right there. Perfect. One thing that I believe I didn't mention the first time is that among the viruses that he can summon the Invis virus. And the strongest at that. But yeah, that's it. It is a first fight, so of course we're guaranteed to get a chip. So, now that we fought him, he is now available as a random encounter throughout the area, and we can get 3 chips from him. So, before we go into more detail about Magic Man 1, I want to show you that description. Magic Fire equals instant delete. So the way that Magic Man works is he pretty much does his Magic Fire attack, identical to Skullman's. He will deal that amount of damage on the chip, and occasionally it may insta-kill an enemy. I tried it many times, it does not seem to work on bosses, so only on regular viruses. So Magic Man 1, aside from that insta-kill effect, deals 100 damage in a straight line. Magic Man 2 is a bit stronger, dealing 120 damage in a straight line. And Magic Man 3 is the strongest at 140 damage. It's okay, since it doesn't seem to work for bosses, I wouldn't really recommend it against them. But yeah, we're still missing one more enemy, hopefully he'll show up, if not, he also appears in the next area. Well, that missing enemy has yet to appear, so I'll guess we'll continue onwards. Before we do, I want to make some adjustments to my folder real quick. So I'm going to switch out the Dynawaves M for Dynawave S. I know that doesn't seem to make much sense because that makes them incompatible with Quake 3 and M Cannon, but I do have a reason for it, trust me. Also, I will be switching out Elegman for a different Navi chip. So before I take any step in this area, a couple of things that I want to mention. Regarding the green mystery data in this area. For one, you can get Raton 2, I believe the code is J, aka the final code of the Ratoon 2 chip, meaning that we theoretically have access to Omega Raton 2. It will of course allow you to spam the Raton 2 chip for 10 seconds and you're immune to any and all damage during that time. It's okay. Also, in theory, in this area you could obtain as a Green Mystery Data Howitzer, the Howitzer chip. Unfortunately, due to an RNG glitch, that is impossible, meaning that you cannot get it at all unless you go through the chip trader or you actually fight the hardhead enemy. Aside from that, we do have a bunch of new enemies in this area, so hopefully I won't be skipping many fights. And I forgot to talk to that Navi. Hard to get through here, huh? You will always have to fight to the best of your ability. So similar to the previous, to that other Undernet area a couple of episodes ago, which required a busting rank of 4 or higher, the barrier at the end of this area requires a busting rank of 5 or higher, so keep that in mind. Oh, one other thing. Rush technically appears in this area. If he escapes from you, that will not invalidate your busting, because that is him running away, not you. Okay, so that I can tell you right away, that's a new enemy. But it can be one of 2 new enemies. So let's see. It's that one, okay. So that enemy, it functions the same as Wood Tower, only it can also heal itself, and it is significantly faster. This is one of the 2 bagworm-like viruses that we read about in that email from the official net battlers. This enemy, alongside that the other bagworm enemy, is notorious for being incredibly difficult to obtain. And that is because it of course requires a rank of 10 or higher, meaning that it has to be accompanied by another virus. So that enemy, I don't know, I'm going to call it by the chip that it gives you. The chip is called Drop Down. Now, as I said before, you need a rank of 10 or higher, so what is the best possible way to do it? So in this area it appears by itself, alongside the other bagworm virus and alongside a fire aura enemy. That last pairing is, in my opinion, the best, because when fighting fire aura you can just use Sharkman to destroy the aura and also deal damage, and then when the drop down enemy is below you can use it at the same time and take them both out. Alternatively, since you may not get 2 Sharkman chips and you're at the beginning of the fight, if you have 1 Dino Wave and 1 Sharkman, you can use Dino Wave to destroy the barrier, to deal enough damage to the aura virus so that Sharkman is strong enough to take them both out. I'll show you on screen how I did it, but it is a bit tricky, and of course, even if you get a rank of 10 or higher, you're not guaranteed to get that chip. Aside from all that, the chip itself is rather disappointing. So the effect is that once you activate it, Mega Man will start blinking, you're immune to any and all damage until you attack. It can be as simple as a Buster Shot. Once you attack, that effect disappears forever. So it is, in a way, a much inferior version of Pop-Up, which is significantly easier to obtain, by the way. Also regarding, I guess, Drop Down and Pop-Up as a whole. One thing you can do, if you use them alongside Anubis against the life virus near the very end of the game, if you position the Anubis statue in a correct position and then you use either Pop-Up or Drop Down, and as long as the enemy has already summoned both Scuttle viruses, you can pretty much just stand still and watch how the live virus dies to poison, because he cannot do anything at all. I'll pull it up on screen, but yeah, it's pretty funny. Alright, new enemy as well, awesome. So as you probably already guessed, this is the ultimate version of the Drain virus. Also, one thing that is rather unique about it is that, unlike Drain 1 and Drain 2, who tend to move fast, he moves very slowly. I'm actually surprised that we got it. So Drain 3, it is of course stronger than Drain 2, it will deal 70 damage in a straight line and, it will deal 90 damage in a straight line and heal you for that same amount. But now that we have access to the Drain 3 chip, we have unlocked a new program advance. It is called Blood Sap. It requires Drain 1A, Drain 2A, Drain 3A and Wave A. The way it works is that Mega Man will throw 3 gigantic syringes in all 3 rows, each dealing 200 damage. And it will also heal you for 200 damage each, so it's actually pretty good. So, this net merchant right here. He's the final net merchant of the game, so he has the 4 remaining HP memories and the final and incredibly expensive power-up. Aside from that, he has Dash G, Repair G and Wave A, so all program advanced materials, and Bubble Wrap 3 for some reason. But anyways, let's real quick get that final power-up. And we are fully leveled up. 1000 HP and level 100. It feels good. Checking your busting technique. Busting technique satisfactory. You may pass. So I did skip a couple of fights, but mostly because they were against old enemies such as Candle 2 and Cyclone. Now we're still missing, I believe, 1 enemy, so I'm going to walk around a bit more. And also because there's something else. Okay, so I'm going to stop looking for that enemy and show you something else. Before you take any steps further, you may want to save. Because we have yet another post-game enemy, boss. In this case, Shadow Man. Awesome design. Come on. Alright, so Shadow Man can be rather tricky, because for one he moves around a lot, and he also has iframes, unlike Pharaoh Man. One of the best moments to actually land an attack on him is once he's finished with his Shuriken attack. He will always throw 3, and he will remain immobile in the same spot where he was above for a few seconds, so that's your best moment to attack. Because of the fact that he moves around quite a lot and that he has iframes, he is rather tricky to get an S rank, because he will eat away at your time. There we go. Since it is the first fight, of course, we have a guaranteed drop. So, let's go over the Shadow Man chips. Shadow Man 1. It basically functions the same as his Shuriken attack. He will throw 3 Shurikens, each dealing 80 damage, so if it's against a single enemy, it's a total of 240 damage, so pretty good. Shadow Man 2, even better. Each Shuriken deals 90 damage, meaning that in total it deals 270 damage. And Shadow Man 3 is fantastic, dealing 300 damage in total. Now, against bosses, these are probably some of the best chips. When you're fighting a crowd of enemies, not so much, because he may sometimes focus more on one enemy than the other, and some enemies may not even get attacked by shurikens. Now, similar to Pharaoh Man, Shadow Man can also give you a 4th chip. It is called Muramasa. It is a sword chip, and the way that it functions is that the damage value for Muramasa is equal to the amount of damage that you have received. Right now we have 1000 HP, meaning that Muramasa can deal upwards of 900 damage. Now, it is pretty strong, but in a way it is held back by some of the rules in Battle Network 1. For one, the fact that you heal up at the end of every fight actually doesn't help Muramasa, because in later games it's actually a valid strategy when you're looking to run into random enemies or bosses and S-rank them, to allow yourself to take damage against random viruses and then go into a boss fight with very low HP but a whole bunch of Muramasas and maybe like some invisibility chips to make sure that you don't actually die. Doing that, you can go into fight and deal like thousands of damage in your very first turn. You can't really do that in this one, because in order to build up the Muramasa damage, you have to take damage, which will affect your score overall. Also, it only has the same range as the normal sword chip. In later games it gets better once it gains the same range as longsword. So, I mean, it's okay as a last ditch resort, but other than that, not much else to say. Okay, that might... No, I think that's just the drop down. I think that's just the drop down virus, let's see. Yep. Okay, so the one enemy, the other bagworm virus, refuses to appear, so let's go over into more detail about him. I'll show you how I fought him. In this area, he, as I mentioned, can appear alongside the drop-down virus, which is possibly the worst pairing ever, because they move around a lot and they are rarely both on screen at the same time, and even if they are rarely lined up in a way that you can take them out. If they were, Fireman 3 would be perfect for them, but that rarely, if ever, happens. That enemy also will use the wood tower attack. It cannot heal itself, but to make up for that, it has 250 HP, which is a lot. It appears in Undernet 10 as well, but always by himself. For what I read online, you supposedly can get him from a rank 9, but I never have. In my own experience, you can only get it from getting a rank 10 or higher. So because of that, it is mostly impossible in that area. In this area, aside from appearing alongside the drop-down virus, it appears alongside Cyclone, which is the best possible pairing because Cyclone is completely mobile. If you're lucky, you can line up chips such as Quake 3, in fact that's how I beat him. If not, of course, if you're lucky enough to get 2 Sharkman S's, you can just take them out at the very beginning of the fight. As to the chip that you get from him, it is called Leaf Shield. It will create a leaf barrier around you, similar to that attack that you got from Woodman in the classic series. And the first attack that you receive will turn into HP for you. So it is actually a very, very useful chip. But that's pretty much it for this area. So we explored Undernets 10 and 11, and we got a couple of new chips. Next time, we'll explore the final area of the Undernet. Thank you for watching.